Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I want to talk about something that I've been formulating for a while now, and that is my big, grand idea for what the next Warlords of New York style expansion for the Division 2 should or could be. I've mentioned bits and pieces of this in several of my past videos, and I've said that yes, I do believe we will eventually receive another Wony-like paid DLC, which I will get into shortly, but I've yet to do a kind of compact and cohesive video laying all of that out, and so thanks to some inspiration I was given lately, Witch Queen, yeah, I wanted to do that because I went back and played through Warlords not that long ago, and it's so good. The compact storytelling and how they flesh out the lore and the characters in the experience is so compelling, and the environment is phenomenal, of course. It was just a wonderful, wonderful gift that we got as Division players, and it was really the last big send-off to the original team before everybody got disbanded. And so I don't want to say Wony is underappreciated because I know a lot of people give it the deserving praise, but I've just been thinking about it a lot lately, I suppose, and so I thought this would be a fitting and fun thing to do as we await the long-anticipated glimpse into the Division 2's next chapter. So let's get into it. I want to start with a brief recap of my reasoning for why I think we will eventually see another paid DLC for the Division 2, because I know a lot of people might get hung up on that claim. Obviously, I don't know for certain, but here's my reasoning. And if you want a full breakdown and thoughts, then click the video in the upper corner right now. This is a condensed version of what I said in there, basically. Division 2 was set to cease production after TU12. Then Ubisoft did a 180, established a small team at Massive, and dedicated a sizable workforce at Ubisoft Bucharest to aid them in creating this new content for the Division 2. That was and has since led to a lot of investment on Ubisoft's end for going on 14 months now, with arguably very little return. There has been new hires at Massive across the entire time window, including new developers, but also perhaps most notably a product director whose job it is to, really think long-term among other things. And despite all this time without the game bringing in big returns for that investment that Ubisoft made, this first big update is going to be free. All signs are pointing to. Some people still don't believe me when I say that. Obviously, a developer has not come out and clarified one way or the other, but I'm 99% certain it will be free. It just makes the most sense from all the information and wording we have so far. Then we also know that there will be a return to a regular content schedule, is what they said, after this first batch of content, stretching throughout 2022 and likely now leading into 2023 with the delay. And so that's all to say, and again, I elaborate on more of this in that video I did, that I think this first year of content or so, once the first update drops, will be centered around free community building content. Rebuild the trust with the player base, revitalize the game's endgame, and just deliver some quality content. But I do indeed believe that is all going to lead to a paid expansion down the road. Signs indicate that Ubisoft's biggest motivator for deciding to keep the Division 2 going and to invest all of this money and time was the financial success of Warlords of New York. And I have no doubt in my mind that that's the outcome they're eventually trying to replicate. It's just going to take some time as far as preparing the player base for another $30 investment and allowing the smaller development team the time to slowly work on it. So again, fully my own opinion, but I believe that by the latter half of 2023 or maybe even March of 2024, we will see another paid expansion for the Division 2. Now that that's out of the way, what is my idea for what it should be? Well, I did a recent video talking about my hopes and ideas for this year's coming seasons. I guess this video is just entirely self-promos, but like I said, I wanted to just condense all these conversations into one spot, so check that one out on screen if you're interested. But in there, I said that I hope season 9, 10, 11, and 12, because I do think that we're set to get a minimum of 4 once the content ball starts rolling. I hope that their overarching focus is to introduce new characters, establish their relevance to the current Division events and world, and just deepen the overall lore. Seasons 1 to 4 were very much about closing out storylines. We got a little tease of the Sokolovas in Season 3 and 4, and we'll get back to that, don't worry, but Season 1 had ties to Keener. Season 2 was obviously a big continuation from the Division 1 and another closure to Wony's story. Season 3 left us on a hook for future development with Barden in captivity, but didn't tease much there, and Season 4 was set up to put out some major events in motion, with the death of President Ellis, but didn't really do anything with it. And all of it went out with quite a whimper. So again, other than Barden being in custody and the Sokolovas being vaguely out there as a new threat to worry about, we're at a bit of a clean slate as far as where the story could head. And instead of seeing this trend of bringing in older and established characters to kill off, because frankly we're running out of them, bring in new figures, introduce us to people who have connections to the Sokolovas, explain those relationships, establish the next era of the Division 2 story. Because yes, I do believe that revolves around the Sokolova family and the larger Black Tusk organization, and that's kind of where I want to start in for a deep dive for this expansion idea. So, here's the pitch. Spend the next 4 seasons setting up this next big story, and then deliver another Warlord-style paid expansion where we take the fight to Natalia Sokolova. So yeah, don't drop her as the prime Manhunt target of Season 9 and then kill her off right away. That would not be good. Instead, have 4 big targets throughout the year. Maybe you kill some, maybe you capture some, maybe some of them get away. And throughout the duration of those seasons, you learn more backstory and gain current information that eventually leads you to this new expansion's events where we, are you ready? Travel to a new city in the north, Boston, Chicago, somewhere, and take on Natalia, the Black Tusk, and the larger Sokolova family and organization in the snow. As far as the logistics of this, just theoretically, if they were to do this, I don't know if they might just have the new city be snowy and just say that the season is now late fall or something and make it work to have DC and New York stay with their current, summer weather palette, or perhaps, all 3 of the now total maps get winterized and snowy with the associated title update. That would be kind of cool. I don't know, but regardless, having a new expansions map be in the snow would already be a mega hit without even talking about what content or gameplay it might contain. And to circle back, a big reason why this has been so prevalent in my mind is Destiny 2's recent expansion, The Witch Queen, which, having finished the campaign myself, delivered what is probably the finest campaign they've ever done for either any of the base games or their expansions. And time after time, I see both Bungie and Massive have such great potential in delivering these amazing story packages. And like I said, I played through Warlords' campaign again recently. We talked about this on stream too, by the way. But I will die on the hill that I think WONI has the best campaign between it, Division 1, and Division 2. The way it introduces a bunch of entirely new characters in Keener's 4 rogues and gives them a life, personality, and motivation in the short build-up to their confrontations and demises was phenomenal. The mission and art design was top-notch. The world of Lower Manhattan itself is so great. Like that side mission you do for Theo's Zone, where you're on that rooftop trying to turn the satellites, I think it is. I played through it while it was on nighttime, and the red beacons on the rooftops corners with the nearby shadow of the skyscrapers with vines and vegetation growing on all of them. It's just so good. And a lot of that is forgotten and lost, I think, when you've been in the endgame for so long. And when the expansion came, at launch with a severe lack of replayable content. I think a lot of this stuff was lost in that initial reception, and then over time, people have come to appreciate it a lot more. And so to see another entry in this category of content would be so fulfilling, in my opinion. Have us take the fight to Natalia, have it be in the snow, have us assault these Black Tusk fortifications and strongholds, and I just think it would be so sweet. Especially if they properly construct and lead up to it with these 4 seasons first, introduce us to some of the new characters that we won't meet until the expansion, have us meet and maybe fight some of the people that then get away and return in the expansion, have us confront and take down some people, and then those deaths can become motivators for the new enemies that we meet in the expansion. There's so many possibilities. I liken it to the buildup of Barden Schaefer and the BTSU. We got a lot of audio logs and mission cut-ins of him ever since year 1, and we were introduced to his unit in the same manner. Wyvern, Galveston, Sumner, Brenner. We learned these names and began to understand who they were and why they were important. And then in Tidal Basin, White Oak, the DARPA Labs, Coney Ballpark, we confronted them one by one and took them down. And that just felt satisfying. For me, at least, it felt like I was taking on an enemy that actually had a reputation to them. We never did come across Jack Bonney, who was also in that unit. Maybe he'll show up in the future. Who knows? That'd be kind of a cool Season 9 tie-in, and then maybe that's how they bring Barden in. But regardless, that all then culminated in Season 3 when we finally got to confront Barden directly, and you get some more personal audio logs where you see his inner workings. You can see him forming these deals and relationships behind the scenes that he's kind of known for, and then you get to take him in alive while learning new lore, like the Hunter's supposed alliance with the Black Tusk. You're introduced to new characters like Natalia, and I think that's why Season 3 was easily my favorite of the seasons that we've gotten so far, and this is the type of approach that I really hope we see them take in year 4. Take the time to establish people, build them up, slowly confront them, and let that lead to a big, satisfying conclusion in a new expansion where you can do all of these events justice with their scale and significance. As for what the actual context or story of this manhunt on Natalia would be, who knows? It's kind of hard to predict all of that when we know so little about what direction the devs might be headed with the story, but even if the expansion were to end with her escaping, but we still liberate whatever city we travel to, that would still be pretty cool in my book. And yeah, overall, I just wanted to do this video as a appreciation shout out for Warlords of New York, I guess, and for the story possibilities of the Division world and how the dev team has portrayed them. And I hope that they can deliver another experience like that in this expansion that I do think is going to come one day in the future. Again, just my personal belief there, but I can't wait to get an idea of what the future may hold for the Division world and the universe at large. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts on this general discussion of expansions, both past and present. Are you in agreement with me regarding my general thoughts and praise of Warlords as a story presentation and expansion? And do you think a similar strategy to some of what we've seen in the Division's past would be effective to lead up to a new expansion, potentially tackling the threat of the Sokolovas? Whatever your thoughts on any of that may be, leave it below. I'll be curious to read through your responses. Yeah, I really just want to get my thoughts out there about all this stuff before things get too crazy, which if you watch my video from Tuesday, you'll know that I think it's going to start up pretty soon here, but we'll see. Either way, you know I'll be here, and I appreciate each and every one of you who continue to support me, but that's going to do it for today, though, everybody. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.